welcome to today's episode of the Balanced Approach podcast. I'm your host, Louis Padian. I hope that you're doing well and are enjoying the podcast and the topics we've covered so far. These podcasts are released every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you are listening to be kept up to date.
So, it is almost December and Christmas is almost upon us. And the reason I wanted to cover that, why waiting until the new year might actually set you back, is because that's what people often do. People often sit back, kick back and go, well, I've got lots on, I have lots of parties, I've got lots of shopping to do, lots of socialising, I've got all this nice food around me. What's the point in trying to get healthier, lose weight and work on my fitness goals, when actually that could actually put you further back than you want to be? So, for me, I really enjoyed it when I worked in the gyms. New year, new me. We got a lot of people joining the gym and it was a really good atmosphere. But the New Year's resolution is often thought to be this holy grail of starting your health and wellness journey, when actually the research suggests something quite different. So when we look at people joining the gym, there's a few common reasons why people would want to, or starting their New Year's resolution, for example. A few things that people want to achieve. Usually losing weight is top of the list, getting more exercises on there as well, improving their eating habits, stopping smoking. These are all fantastic things and often things that I help people with, same as reducing their stress as well. But when we look at the research around whether they are successful, usually if they start January 1st, the research suggests that only 8% of people actually follow through and complete or are successful with their New Year's resolution. And that's a really, really damning statistic. And there's lots of reasons for that. Potentially people not preparing, people not having a plan, people not having support networks in place. But often people just hope that January 1st is going to be this New Year start for them, that they can really kick on. For some people it does work, but the vast majority of people, it doesn't. And another bit of research that I read around it was that actually people who set New Year's resolutions versus people who don't are no more likely to be successful as well, which I thought was really hard and really difficult to read, because people go in with the best intentions, I'm sure they do, and I believe that as a coach, as a personal trainer, as a nutritionist, but often things aren't in the right place, or that people don't put things in place for them in order for them to be successful long term. So one of the things that I think that can be really useful is actually starting early. And as we said, December's almost upon us, and if it might be the start of December by the time you listen to this, it might be near Christmas. But there's actually huge benefits to starting a bit earlier. First of all, you'll have more time to make progress towards where you want to be. And it's easier, potentially with less routine, to bring new things in, because things are disrupted anyway. You can start something new and it will just feel just as disjointed as it would do if you're just cracking on with Christmas anyway. Second, using the challenges of Christmas, and this is something I often discuss with my clients, can be really beneficial because there's lots of opportunities for us to learn. If things are like January is dead socially for a lot of people will focus 100% on their fitness goals, probably go all in on them. And often they won't learn a huge amount during that time because things are set up for them to succeed potentially. When actually, if we have a look at Christmas, there's lots of challenges that happen throughout the year, that happen regularly. There's lots of socializing, lots of potential alcohol, lots of tasty foods around. And these are great opportunities for us to try and develop these new habits and become more skilled at eating better, prioritizing our physical activity and managing our stress levels, for example. So there's a huge opportunity, abundance of opportunities. There's a great quote that I love, that a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. And if you want to get really good at these potential new habits and behaviors, if you want to eat well for the rest of your life or moving forward or become more active, then there's no better time than the present to try that as well. So definitely there's two things there, that often disjointed routine can bring new things in, but also obstacles and opportunities there. So instead of seeing things as problems, saying, well, I can't do this because I've got a party, come and go. And actually it's a great opportunity for me to try and adjust my behaviour so that I'm still managing to balance my social life whilst also being healthier as well. Finally, on top of that, which I thought was a really interesting concept, and often this is a thing that can really switch for clients and people that I work with, is it's a good kickstart for the new year. So one of the things that can happen in the new year is that people reach 30 days of doing a habit, doing behaviour, and then they'll drop off because their motivation's low. And often it happens as a group, as a crowd. If you join the gym with a few friends, if you're relying on each other for motivation to turn up to gym and suddenly people start dropping off, then everyone seems to drop off then. When actually it could be a great opportunity from the start of December to use that as a run-up. So actually, just as your own motivations keep dropping off, you can jump on the new year, new me, and continue those habits and behaviours that we're all thinking about: eating a bit healthier, managing our weight, being a bit more active, reducing our stress, reducing our alcohol intake, quitting smoking, for example. And when we look at the research around habits, people might say it takes 30 days to build a habit, which actually isn't supported in the research. It usually, on average, takes 66 days. And if you think about the start of December to the end of January, we're nearing that 66 days. It could take anywhere between, according to some research, 18 to 84 days. So you could start in December and actually have cracked your habits or whatever you're trying to achieve before Christmas. It could be that it takes you to the end of Feb, or worst case scenario, it could take you to the end of March, for example. But if you think about how much momentum, how much you could learn during the first month in December around your habits behaviour, where it's difficult to manage your food intake, where it's difficult to be as active as you can, then there's some great opportunities there to learn and utilise, sharpen those skills or sharpen those tools, as we talk about tools in the toolbox full time. A great opportunity by start of January that actually you're in a really strong position to really kick on throughout February and really embed these new habits and behaviours. So when we look at what we want to do with regards to habits and behaviours, there's a few things that we would advise is, first of all, having some goals set around it using the SMART and GROW model, which if you look back at previous episodes, we're putting in great depth on one of the episodes earlier on. But using those structures to set unbeatable, unbreakable goals is a really good opportunity to give yourself the best chance of succeeding long term. Also, when you're building behaviours, and something that we'll touch on in future episodes, around starting really small, and we've touched on it in previous episodes as well, around just working on being slightly better. You don't have to be perfect from the get-go. If you're not currently eating any fruit and veg and you know that you want to, or you want to increase that, instead of going straight into veganuary, which is what some people do, where they completely cut out foods that they regularly have and enjoy that potentially aren't as unhealthy as people might think they are, and go 2-footed into veganuary where they're just having plant-based meals. If you're not a very skilled cook, if you don't particularly like fruit and veg, or you haven't got an affinity of which ones you do like, you're probably setting yourself up for failure, because that's going to be a really tough month where you're going to have to learn a lot quite quickly, when actually you could just go from the start of January and make sure I have 1 to 2 portions of fruit and veg per day. And you might, or start December I should say, and then as we build momentum over Christmas, and you might go, oh, maybe I can hit 2 to 3. By January you could be at 2 portions per day, 3 portions per day, on average really pushing for that 4 or 5, while still including the foods that you want to and that you enjoy. That can be definitely part of a healthy and balanced diet. Third thing that I would probably suggest if you wanted to start a bit earlier, and I definitely recommend that, would be telling people about what you want to do. Not only does it hold you more accountable, but often people are more than likely to want to help us in what we want to achieve, so they can be part of the successful journey. They can stop sabotaging you or putting you under pressure, or giving you or making you make more difficult choices than you need to. And actually maybe they want to achieve it as well, and you both combine and, say for example, join the gym together, or start a new way of eating, increasing your fruits and veg, increasing your protein intake, and reducing the amount of processed foods, increasing the amount of whole foods in your diet. Lots of different things that you can do, but telling people, having these communications or these conversations with people can be a big game changer in getting that support in there, but also holding you accountable, because you, once you put it out into the public, you feel more inclined to do it. Third thing would be, and this is why I suggested that you start early, because there's lots of chances to learn during December, is learning points through these obstacles or seeing them as opportunities and being able to set plans in place. So if from January you haven't got any socialising plans in place, or you don't plan on socialising, you're going to go all in your health and fitness journey, what happens when you want to socialise again? What happens when a birthday comes up, or a party, or you've got a weekend away, or you're away with work? You don't know how to respond. But during December, there's lots of tasty foods around, there's lots of parties, lots of socialising, a lot more alcohol, and these are great opportunities for you to put a plan in place, see how it goes, reflect on it and go, right, so this went well, we'll carry on doing that because that really worked for me this time. Or if this didn't quite work out, then actually maybe we need to try something new moving forward. So potentially, instead of me going out hungry and then eating everything at this meal and overindulging on all the foods, actually maybe having a bit of a snack before, that's going to be high in protein, high in fibre, to help manage your calorie intake, because that's more in line with what you want to achieve long term. So that's definitely something that you potentially could bring in forward and definitely learn from earlier on, whilst the opportunities are there to socialise. Then maybe during January, where you haven't got as many social opportunities to really learn these key lessons. Last on the list would be rewarding yourself. And this is a tricky one because often the common reward that people go for is around food. And food as a reward isn't a problem, but when it's your only reward that you can have, that's where it becomes an issue. Food should be there to be enjoyed. But if you have a bad day and a good day, you lean into food and you overindulge regardless, then that's setting up a recipe for disaster, especially if weight loss or healthy eating long term, having a positive relationship with food long term is a goal for you. But having other rewards in there, so a relaxing bath, buying yourself something new, if you're taking yourself out shopping, if you've reached a certain weight loss goals, and buying yourself some new clothes that you feel good in can be a really good way to move forward. Maybe having a night out with some friends, taking yourself to the cinema, these sorts of things, trying to come up with new creative ways that are actually going to reward you for succeeding rather than sabotaging, which often that we see people do, is that they do really well, common thing you see in slimming groups, whether at a good week or a bad week on the scales, a big takeaway on a Monday night after the weigh-in, and it's either commiserations or celebratory, and that's creating a really bad cycle and really bad relationship with that food. When actually we could go, right, if I do all the things that I'm meant to do and focus on the processes as well, that's probably a better way to look at it. So if I make sure that I'm eating my fruit and veg, hitting my calories and doing a certain amount of steps each day and my weight's trending down, well, if I'm doing all the things that I know are going to help me move to where I want to be, then you know what, I'm going to do X, Y, Z at the weekend or that evening to really treat myself, really reward myself, and that's going to embed that behaviour a bit better as well.
So there you have it. Thank you very much for listening to today's episode of the Balanced Approach podcast. If you have any questions, queries, or would like to reach out to me, please do. I am at Louis Padian Nutrition, which is at LOUISPADIAN Nutrition on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all other social media platforms. If you're looking for support in achieving your goals and living a healthier, happier, and more balanced life in the process, click the link below and inquire about working with me. Remember to subscribe to the Balanced Approach podcast wherever you're listening for more insightful episodes, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.